Hi everyone, welcome back to WHU TV. My name is John, your host as always, and I hope you're all doing well as I always do under these very difficult circumstances. I'm hoping you guys, you guys can hear me by the sounds of it, so it's all good. Welcome back guys. As always, this video is sponsored by the channel sponsor 3retro.com. Please click the link in the description below that will take you directly through to the West Ham section of their website, where you can purchase retro kits from the 60s all the way through to the early 2000s. Including the 1976 home shirt that inspired this season's away kit, home kit, even as I say, you can see all the animations up here. But I hope you guys are all doing well. And there's also Admiral and Umbro West Ham colour inspired track jackets, polo shirts, sweatshirts and t-shirts, so go check those out. Any purchases made through the link in the description below, I'll be sending the commission as always to the Iron supporting food banks. So hopefully that everything's come off with everything's gone all right. Andy Miles, welcome back, mate. Hope you're okay. Don't worry about being busy with work, fella. It's absolutely fine. Good evening, Tony. Good evening, Ben. Good to see you back again, mate. Rick, hello. Hope you're okay. Vernon, nice to see you back again, mate. It's all good as always. And of course, everyone else is going to be watching the replay of this, of course. It's good to see you guys as well. It looks like everybody can hear me okay, because nobody's telling me you can't hear me. So, right. So and just as I say that, Kent says it's a bit echoey. How's that, mate? Any better? Please do let me know, because I'm still trying to sort this audio stuff out, because it's getting on my wick, quite frankly. But yeah, so let me know if the echo's now gone, which it should hopefully be. Gary, good evening. Thank you, Gary. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah, so it's it's a bit weird. I'm still trying to sort all this stuff out. I'm following loads of different people's advices, but it's for people's advice that don't stream in the way that I stream. So it's a bit tricky, but we're getting there. So guys, right. And Rick as well. Good evening, mate. And okay, so let's talk about the first thing. Is for those that followed the Twitter account, I did mention about the Qatar 2022 draw. This is very, very interesting for any of those. Kieran, good morning. Nice of you to join us, sunshine. I hope you're all right. And it's because obviously it's Thursday morning over there where you are, guys. But hope everything's good. Right. So England's group first and foremost. In Group I, we've drawn Poland, Hungary, Albania, Andorra, and San Marino. So very, very interesting there. Very, very interesting. Guys, give me your thoughts on that draw. For me personally, I think it's a very, very good draw for England. Very much so. I can't think of anything. Worse. In terms of that. I'll just double check something with you seconds to make sure you can still hear me. So yeah, I'm hoping you guys can still hear me. For some reason the volume's very low on this for some random reason. But yeah, I hope you guys can all hear me okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's probably just my monitor more than anything else. Alright, so see what you guys are saying. Tony says, seems like a comfortable group that England are in. Ben says England have a pretty easy group. Richard Cox, welcome back, mate. Good to see you again. Kent says we should win that group minus Poland rather that group than a lot of others. Yeah, agreed. That brings me on quite nicely there, Kent, mate, to the rest of the groups, or especially for the home nations anyway. Werner says Riva versus Fabianski. I totally agreed. Thanks, Andy, for verifying the sound. Vernon's not engaging in the conversation, so we'll ignore what he's saying at the minute. Ben says Poland is tough. Right, so and agreed. Yeah, I mean, Andorra can sometimes give us a hard game as well, for that matter. But yeah, barring Poland, I think we've got quite a good draw. For those that don't know, Scotland have drawn Denmark, Austria, Israel, the Faroe Islands, and Moldavia. So that's going to be a very, very interesting draw for Scotland. Very good. They've been drawn with Israel quite a fair bit before Kent pops in with his stat on that. But yeah, they've over the last few competitions, they've been there's a qualifier a few weeks back with Scotland, if I remember correctly. Wales have drawn Belgium, Czech Republic, Belarus, and Estonia. Not the best of ones for Wales, to be honest with you. Belgium, Czech Republic, two very, very difficult teams. Belarus can be tricky. Estonia, not so much. Northern Ireland's group is Italy, Switzerland, Bulgaria, and Lithuania. So Northern Ireland have got a very, very difficult one there. The Swiss and the Italians are very, very tricky teams to play. Very, very tricky teams to play. And the Republic of Ireland have got Portugal, Serbia, Luxembourg, and Azerbaijan. So you never know. You never know with those guys. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with it, of course, as always. But yeah, so guys, let me know what your thoughts are on the rest of that as well, for that matter, because the chat's gone pretty silent since I spoke about England. Ben says, remember when Scotland drew 2-2 with the Faroe Islands years ago? Yep, agreed. That as I said, Scotland have had not the easiest of ones. Andy, yep, absolutely right, mate. San Marino gave us a scare once before they did. Yep. Not that long ago either, for that matter. Not that long ago. What was it? Kieran says, I still have scars from from Poland costing us qualification. Yeah, it was a long time ago, fella. Kent says, still think Scotland could qualify. Clark Scotland playing only home nation, I think, will get through. You mean the other home nation, you mean, mate? Yeah. West Ham unofficial account. Good evening. Always nice to see new people. It's nice we've got some new returning guys back as well, for that matter, but always nice to see new people. But you know, always just trying, of course, keep the conversation respectful. Now, guys, you know as well as I do that I don't like to bring in politics and all that much. But yeah, it's oh yes, yep, West Ham unofficial. That young Jake, welcome, mate. Sorry, I didn't know you. It was you. I think it was under a slightly different account, but welcome, mate. I've been watching some of your content, fella. It's been very, very good. I've heard a lot of good things about you. I mean, because Nicky and all the guys over on West Ham Fan TV absolutely rave about you, mate. So, well, welcome to the hard world of YouTube as well, for that matter. But yeah. So where are we? Okay. So today, as I said, today is the deadline apparently for Brexit talks, which appear to be going to be extended. It's so, but at the same time, the reason why it's going to be extended is basically because it looks like the EU have you're welcome, Jake. It looks like the EU are playing hardball as always playing hardball by the sounds of things. So as a result, yeah, they're just making it more and more difficult. But good news on that. Because of this, it gives us in the background. It gives us more time to have more deals with the other people in the background. You know, the other country, was it 24, 25 countries we've yet to strike deals with. So we're 75% the way there by the looks of it. So it's all good. But we'll have to wait and see over the coming weeks and months, of course. Tony says Boris and Ursa have got to have their 3-course meal to seal the deal. Yeah, it's not going to be a carvery 3-course meal, is it, mate? Eh? Unfortunately, it'd be nice for them to get the to have that. It'd be nice to have some for some of them to have a bit of reality to see what the normal 3-course meal for us plebs in comparison to them is going to be like. But as we all read yesterday, 6:30 yesterday morning, the first ever COVID vaccine was dished out to a 93-year-old, I think it was, at 6:30 yesterday morning in a care home. So I said last week that the vaccines are going to be being dished out this week, and I was absolutely right. It's all been reported, and according to the reports as well, for that matter, it looks like in the next week or so, GPs are starting to roll it out. So, Kent, before you say it, mate, yes, I know you'll be straight in the line within the queue for it, mate, and it's totally understandable. You know, at the end of the day, again, I saw a lot over Twitter over the last couple of days about people arguing with people that they should or shouldn't have it. It's your discretion. If you go for it, go for it. If you don't. You know. Andy Wall says he'd have it too. Of course you will, mate. You always want to have your cake and eat it, don't you, son? But yeah, it's. Tony says the first male that was given the vaccine was a William Shakespeare from Warwick. Did not know that, Tony. Thank you for that. That's interesting. Very very interesting. But yeah, it'd be very and of course Russia have given out they're starting to give out their Sputnik 5 vaccine, and Canada have agreed to have the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine as well. So it's good news. You know, countries are starting to do it. Yes, there is a big downside. I thought it was Mark. Oh, Yorick. Yeah, good joke there, Tony. BioNTech. Thank you. BioNTech. Yeah, keeping it straight. But yeah, it's But yeah, there's a lot of talk about it not being able to go through to the third world nations, and yes, it will, but they will be. Honestly, guys, all right, get off the William Shakespeare jokes now. Evening, Eden. Hope you're right, mate. But yeah, it's there's a lot of argument to say about it's not going to be going through to the third world countries, and it will just take a lot longer for obvious reasons, because to get any aid into third world countries, you have to go through a lot of corruption in order to do it. You know, that's the thing. But it is what it is. Now, of course, with we also found out yesterday of the FA Cup draw. So, for those that don't know, this is going to take place between the 8th and the 11th of January next year. Aston Villa versus Liverpool, live on BT Sport, 7:45 on the Friday the 8th of January. BT have got quite a good, nice even split between it, unfortunately. It would have been nice for Amazon to get it, and there's a bit more. Would have been nice to have a bit more variety on BBC, but the BBC have got stuff as well. Saturday, 9th of January, 12:15, live on BT Sport. Chorley versus Derby County. Arsenal versus Newcastle, 5:30 on the Saturday, live on BBC One. That would be a good game to watch. Man United versus Watford on BT Sport at 8 o'clock. So 3 games on the Saturday. Sunday, Crawley Town. Sunday the 10th of January, I should say. Crawley Town versus Leeds, live on BBC at 1:30, and also on 1:30, Marine FC versus Spurs at 5 o'clock. Newport County versus Brighton, 7:45, live on BT, and our game Monday the 11th of January, 8 o'clock, away at Stockport County, live on BT Sport. Now, hopefully, if I'm not doing a course that I was supposed to do, because I've signed myself up for a commentator's course, which is around about the same sort of time. So I don't think it's on a Monday night though. I'm gonna have to recheck it. But if there is, guys, that for the Patreons that are starting 11s, you will hear I'll do a live commentary for the FA Cup game. I think it'd be interesting. I think it really will be interesting. Ken asks, did you see the old boy outside Guy's Hospital in the USA interviewed? He's gone viral. I haven't, Kent, to be honest with you, but I'll keep an eye out for that. Looks like a few others haven't watched it as well. Rick says we should win our FA Cup draw. Andy says come on Marine, which is his local team, if I remember right. Ben says, sorry to go off topic, John, but did you know all the Premier League midweek fixtures next week will be live on Amazon? Yes, we were going to talk about that, Ben. But you've ruined it now. But it's always a week in December, 2 weeks in December that Amazon have the Amazon draw. When the fixtures came out for December, I know you weren't with us then, Ben. But we did go through the December fixtures with Tony, actually. Tony, we talked about it on his introduction. So, Ben, if you want to go and get our thoughts on the December fixtures, then go and watch that after this. Of course, after this as well, there is going to be a there is going to be the preview for the Leeds game straight after this at 8 o'clock. For some random reason, it rendered in 4K, which is a bit weird. Which is why which is why it wasn't uploaded earlier than it was yesterday. But anyway, yeah. Andy says no, it's his local team's Wickham, but he just wanted Spurs to lose. But I know somebody was talking about Marine a few weeks about. I can't remember who it was. But anyway, Kent says I expect it will be online. He was also on GMB this morning. Yeah, very possibly. He'll be on YouTube at some point as well. Or maybe even on Good Morning Britain's YouTube channel as well, for that matter. Kent asked, did you get the email about the Palace ballot, John? Yes, I did. This is the next subject we're going to come on, mate. I don't understand how people are confused by this. I genuinely don't. Purely because it's quite clear that if you want to exclude yourself, you complete the form. I don't understand why people are thinking this is a way to reserve your ticket for the game. I don't understand it. It's very, very straightforward. The whole email says if you want to exclude yourself, complete this form by 9 o'clock or midday today. I don't understand it. I really don't get it. It's very, very clear. It's amazingly clear what this form relates to, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, there are going to be people out there that don't understand it. Because unfortunately, a lot of people nowadays, they don't read things. They just skim through the headline and not understand it and panic and go over Twitter. And people use Twitter for things that they should be using Google for, if I'm completely honest with you. I've seen a lot of people ask questions that you can be very, very easily answered by Googling it, and therefore not making yourself look like an idiot. So I've seen that a lot over the last few years. More specifically, over the last few weeks, there have been certain people that are doing it, but that it is what it is. What that is. But yes, I don't understand. What I don't get from it is I completed my exclusion form for the last game. Right, I completed my exclusion form for the Man United game. So why the bloody hell would I need to complete it again when I confirmed in there that I'm part of I'm part of a vulnerable sect, which I am. I'm not prepared to be walking around or sitting in the concourse with no mask on, face covering on. Now I know a lot of people. A lot of people are saying I know a lot of people weren't wearing face coverings anyway, as we saw, again for the Man United game. But I want to go and watch football with my mates. I want to do that, which includes watching football with you guys when we're doing the watch-alongs. Yeah, if I can't be around like my normal mates that I watch football with and have a bit of a laugh and have a bit of a banter with, then I want to be watching it with you guys, because you guys are just as important to me as my real stadium mates, shall we say, the footy mates. Just as important. Ken says he rung the club up and said if you're in band 3, you're automatically exempt. You mean tier 3, not band 3. Tier 3. Tier 3 you can't go automatic is an automatic exclusion, because you can't go from tier 3 to tier 2 and 2 to 3. Not band. I don't think you mean band there, mate. Because band is because they're not excluding any ticket holders. It's the tiers. I think you might have got that your words mixed up there, mate. But yeah, it's but yeah, it's tough times. Unfortunately, it is tough times for a lot of us. Yeah, tier 3 exactly. Yeah, that's because that's massive. That's that's what I thought it was there, mate. Because that that really does worry me. If you're a band 3 season ticket holder and you can't automatically go, that really is taking the piss, because that's a lot of season ticket holders. That is a lot of season ticket holders. Where we just get that sorted out. Just there we go. Perfect. A little bit more. But yeah, it's interesting to have that we've got that, but at the same point, it beggars no logic. Andy, did you get an email? Because I know you were, if I remember right, I know Andy, you wouldn't have done, because you chose your option 3, if I remember correctly, didn't you? But yeah, so also that came out on the news over the last couple of days is that Andy says, but there is talk of London going into tier 3. Yeah, it won't be January, mate. You watch once Christmas period's over and done with, because those bloody idiots that have been banding together all over the place. We saw those reports of those twonks, quite frankly, standing outside Harrods before it was opened, and there's been 16,000 and 16,000 and something new cases of coronavirus over the last 24 hours, I think, if I remember right. Let me just have a look at that again. I was reading that earlier. Where is it? Yeah, 16,578 new cases as of the 3rd of December. So funnily enough, the day after we went back, we came out of the supposed lockdown, the numbers jumped huge. 16,500 cases when it was and there's 533 new deaths. It just shows you how stupid people are being. It really, really does. Option 3. And Jordan says, great, that means Leeds can't have any fans on Friday. Agreed. Yep. So yeah, it will be just purely behind closed doors game as well. Ben Davis, absolutely, mate. Some people just don't have common sense, John. Yeah. Or as my old man used to say, God rest his soul, common sense isn't that common. But there was also you would have seen in the news over the last day or so that Premier League and Football League clubs will lose £110 million in sponsorship if betting companies are banned from advertising on shirts, and the government review of gambling launched on Tuesday. Now, basically what this is shirt sponsorship from betting companies is worth £70 million per year in the Premier League, and in the EFL it's valued at a further £40 million annually. Now, there's only 8 clubs out of the 20 Premier League clubs that have betting shirts. Betting sponsors on their shirts. It's basically us, Wolves, Burnley, Southampton, Leeds, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, and Fulham. Whereas Aston Villa and West Brom have them as sleeve sponsors. So apparently, WHU did quite an entertaining review about this. Wasn't exactly worded perfectly as it usually is, but it shows that if this legislation goes through, which I understand from one point of view, because they're trying to get people to not spend so much money that they put their houses at risk and everything else. It will cost West Ham £10 million a season if we have to lose our sponsorship with Betway. Now, that's interesting because obviously we have to pay them back, and we'd have to start a new sponsorship deal and have, like it was with XL when they went bust. Said 12 years, 10, 11 years ago, when we had those blue squares around it and stuff. That was awful. That was bad. That was bad timing. Tony says it's like Primark opened up 24 hours and people were queuing outside Nottingham, I believe. It was crazy. Tony says people queuing up at midnight. I mean, it makes sense because, to a degree, it makes sense because you can't order online with Primark. You can reserve online, but you can't order online. Andy says we don't get a lot, do we, JP? No, our sponsorship deals are absolutely terrible. They are terrible. When we've got the likes of so-called Karen Brady, when she's in charge of the high number, the big deals, that we're getting 10 million sponsors. That's not even enough to pay for an average football player nowadays. It's not. As I said for the last 2 years when I've been doing the account report, the accounts live streams and recordings, and I'll do one in January, February time when last season's reports get released in January. We'll see where the money is going or isn't going, as the case may be, because the numbers will be fixed. The numbers will be fudged. I guarantee it. You can't have the same audited company running for more than 4 or 5 years of overlooking the clubs or any company's books for that matter, and it's just not for me. Not for me at all. It's absolutely pathetic. It really, really is that a very, very well regarded company is auditing West Ham's books, but they've been doing it for over a decade. That screams coercion with me. It really, really does. But anyway, right. So, guys, Man United roundup. Let's talk about the game, because I know a lot of you weren't here at the time. I know some of you were watching other channels doing the watch-alongs, which is perfectly fine. You know, they're all Tony says they're the Arthur Daily accountants. Which is perfectly fine. I mean, but this channel has always been was the home of watch-alongs. The watch-alongs haven't been too great recently, because I'm still getting used to using all this gear, as you guys know. But yeah, let's talk about the Man United game. Let's give me your thoughts. While you're typing down that, I want to know, was it a usual game of West Ham 2 halves, or at the same point was it a bit of a reality check for us? Personally, I think it's a bit of both. I really genuinely do think it's a bit of both. You know, we were leading quite comfortably at half time. Solskjaer reviewed what was going on, and boom, and then he made the changes, which changed the game. Totally changed the game. Now, it was nice, as you see in the preview for the Leeds game that I've recorded, which I say you guys will be able to see in half an hour. Andy agrees with me. It was a bit of both. Pogba does acknowledge that the ball went out of play before he scored, but he does also say, and I have to respect him for this, and I have to agree with him at the same point. I do think he did say that, but as a professional, you play to the whistle. If the whistle doesn't get blown, you keep on going. We say that all the time. So I get it. I understand his point of view. But see what you guys are saying. Ben says, I think Man United showed their class in the end. Agreed. Kent says, a game of 2 halves, but if the ball was called out for Pogba's goal, then that's when it turned. Totally agree. Excuse me. Tony also says, our form has been suspect even though we got results, but we couldn't finish in the first half. Agreed. As I said, Bowen could have had a brace. Fornals could have had a brace. Allaire could have had a goal as well if he didn't trip over his own laces or whatever the hell he was stumbling on. Ben says, for the first half, we look strong. Agreed. Totally. And he says, if you don't take your chances, you will get punished by the better attackers. 100%, Mr. Miles. Completely agree with you there, fella. Totally agree. Tony Blackwell says, Bruno and Rashford were brought on, and I questioned Rashford being offside on several of his runs. Yeah, that's not a bad shout, actually, mate, to be honest with you. That's not a bad shout. Kieran says, Leipzig did the same to Man United, only they were more clinical. Agreed. Absolutely right there, Kieran. I didn't watch the game because I have no interest of Champions League at the minute. I really don't care. I like watching the finals and the semi-finals on that, but the qualifiers, I don't really care. We all knew that Man United was going to go out of that anyway. So, Richard Cox, good to have you back in the chat again, mate. It should have been out of sight at West at half time. Yep, agreed, totally. Kent says goals pay the rent. They do completely. Wish they paid my rent. That's for sure. But yeah, because Rick, if you're still here, I don't remember, and I think I said it during the watch along as well. For that matter, I don't remember Andrea Mariner putting a foot wrong. A very, very rare occasion that he. I thought he had a good game refereeing for both sides. I thought he did well. I don't remember anything bar maybe one or two that shouldn't have, that free kicks shouldn't have been but yeah, Tony, there was a few parts of it were offside, agreed, but I think Andre Mariner was alright. He's gone up in my estimation a bit after that game. I thought he refereed perfectly fine. I don't remember having any issue with him at all. I mean, guys, let me know what your thoughts were on it. But yeah, we'll have to see what it was with that. Tony says, and typical, they have a better second half, but seeing them knocked out last night says it all. We should have wrapped it up. We all know that. Agreed. Kent says anything would have been better than the Villa ref. Come on, he's only had a handful of games, bless him. So I know what you mean, man. We're all, but yeah. Andy's Walsh's Maguire's handball. Yeah, that was one of them. Rick says I blame VAR for the first goal. I agree, JP, with you on referee for the Man United game. Yeah. Yeah, but as I say, VAR's is not being used for that yet. It will be in coming years. It will be, but it's not being used for that yet. Andy says, agree, JP. He's one of the best in the league, and definitely doesn't do a favour. Doesn't favour a side. Well, he does sometimes, but yeah. And Mr. Miles, mate, you're absolutely right. Then you're totally right. I'm gonna have to call you Milesy. I think I'm gonna have to call you so we can differentiate between them. It's gonna be Walshy and Milesy from now on, I think. Okay, so yeah, so let's move on for a little bit. Still keeping it with West Ham. Safe standing rails to be coming in for next season in the Trevor Brooking upper, I should say. Honestly, but yeah, very, very interesting on that. Walshy, I thought they might call you that, mate. Yeah. Ben Davis says the referees are the problem. We know they've been poor for a long time. Agreed. Kent says if match of the day can tell balls out, VAR should be able. I think. Yeah, they should. But as I said to a bloke on Twitter on Sunday when we were talking about it, match of the day have a lot more time to put those things together. You know, we've all seen that time and time again. VAR will have that sort of thing in time, but it's not designed for that yet. It's only really designed for clear and obvious errors around the box, mostly, or a dodgy tackle here and there outside the box. It's not designed for everything. And as much as I've been saying, and Rick will agree with me on this, that I'm a big advocate for VAR, and it will solve all the problems in the coming years. It will. But it's how it's being used at the moment is the bigger picture, and that's the worrying thing about it. A lot of people don't want VAR because they don't understand how the technology works, but it's people's decisions. It's not the technology; it's people's decisions. That's what needs to change. The technology needs to be improved, of course. All technology needs to be improved, but my only reservation with VAR is the fact that I don't want football to become like the NFL. I don't want it to be that bad. I really, really don't want it to be that bad. It'll get there at some point, and then our love of the game will be completely diminished. It really, really will. But let's go back to the safe standing, as we were talking about. And Walshy, you're absolutely right, mate. It is still a person's interpretation. Agreed. Tony says, I think that safe standing is long overdue. Plus, being that there is more room at the London Stadium should suit the ground and please the fans as well. Yeah, as I say, it's only coming into the Trevor Brooking upper as it stands at the moment for next season, which is completely makes sense. I don't see the issue with it. Spurs' ground have got it. It will and that was the atmosphere there was perfect because everybody stands anyway. It'd be nice to have a fully standing stadium at some point, but there will be areas where we would need to sit down and stuff, but everything. Miles E says, I can't wait for safe standing. Will definitely help the atmosphere. That's why I like non-league games. Agreed. Tony, you're right, mate. It is a start. Kent's still banging on about officials. Catch up, Kent, will ya? The ref on the pitch should still be able to ref. It's almost like Shockley Park is running the game. Yeah, and that's, as I say, that's what I'm worried about. That every single thing is going to go to the VAR at some point, and that's what I'm worried about. Like it does in tennis, like it does in rugby. Ben says, I'd like to see the safe standing. I don't have an issue with it. Like you say, John, people are always standing anyway. Yeah, well, you can have like the family areas, or there's going to be people that with disabilities that mean they have to sit down. So you've got sections for those people to sit down and stuff. I mean, 10 years ago, I had to sit down quite a lot because I tore my cartilage, and still went to football, and stand up was painful. It really was shooting pain, really was terrible. But Yeah. Tony says that the biggest nonsense is the retractable seating that has been redundant since we got the stadium. Surely, if the firm that installed them went bust, there must be other firms that do it. Well, there is another firm that is doing it, but it's costing more money as a result. But yeah, you're right. It is a totally redundant idea. That would have Tony concludes with that would have brought the fans closer to the pitch. It's debatable, mate, because it's the design in the first place. It really is. But yeah, if we had standing, then the lower tiers can be designed properly for it, and that's the half the battle won in that signs. Kent's finally caught up with us. Thanks, mate. Safe standing is fine with me. It gives a superb atmosphere. It does. It really, really does. Now, I want you guys to let me know what you think on this as well, for that matter. Fabianski apparently in the coming weeks, if not in January, is going to sign a 2-year extension rather than the 1-year extension that is deemable on his contract. Now, I'm not criticising the bloke in any shape or form. I think he's a fantastic goalkeeper, and I've been very, very happy to be proven wrong over the last couple of seasons. When we brought him in under Pellegrini, I didn't think he was the right guy to come in, but he's proved me wrong, and I'm very, very happy with that. Do you guys agree that he should be signing an extension? Personally, yeah, I do. I like the kid. I like the kid. Well, kid, yeah, he's only a few years younger than me, so I can call him a kid. I do. I think he's a good goalkeeper. I think it'd be very nice to have him on for as long as he's physically capable of doing so. Will this mean that there will be problems bringing in the youth goalies? Yep. Kent's just got it now and struck the nail on the head there. Second year, second choice, need new keeper. Yeah, we do. Because there's rumours going around that Snodgrass isn't going to have a new contract. There's rumours that David Martin isn't going to have a new contract either, which is a shame. Marsley says, I think he will play one more season. Will be back up for a year to a younger goalkeeper, in his opinion. Yep. Sounds that's pretty spot on there, mate. Tony says, look at it like this. Sign him for 2 years, get a decent replacement. At least we have decent cover. Yep. Understandable. That's pretty much where Milesy going with it as well. And is Kent. Ben says he's happy to see him sign a new deal. Eden says he's been making some good saves recently, so then maybe he has something left in the tank. Yeah, he does. He's had a bit of a shake. I mean, he had a bit of a shaky return after the international break. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. He kept 2 clean sheets for Poland. But yeah, it just kind of I like it. As I say, I'm not unhappy about it, and I'm not ecstatic about it. I like the guy. He's a very good goalkeeper. He's kept us in a lot of games over the last couple of seasons. He really, really has. But I do genuinely think we need to be looking at trying to give the youth goalkeepers a bit more of a run out. I wouldn't trust Randolph to be a replacement for Fabianski at all. I like Randolph. He's a very good goalkeeper, very competent goalkeeper, and a nice guy. From what I've seen of the interviews he's done, apart from his personal life, which we won't go into. But in general, yeah, we need a replacement. Kieran says have to sign him, but we should be looking now for replacement. Agreed. Miles E says he deserves it. It's just a shame we didn't sign him when we moved to in London Stadium. Maybe things would have been different. Yeah, Swansea would have gone down earlier for one. But yeah, absolutely agreed there, Andy, mate. Kent says I'd love us to spend good money on a keeper, and spending money on a keeper can save you 10 to 15 points a season. He's certainly done that. Certainly been doing that the last few games. Kieran says even though Buffon doing well and he's 65. Brad Friedel went till his my age, if I remember right. When you're in defence and when you're a goalkeeper, you don't need to be young. It helps, but you don't need to, because you get a lot of good experience out of those guys. You really do. Eden says Fabianski would be a good person to have around for the young goalkeepers. Exactly. Andy, I'm not reading that out. Shut up. Wall sheet. I'm not reading that out. I know it's up. I know you guys can see it up here anyway, but I'm not. I'm not saying it. Absolutely not saying it. No way. Nice try. Absolutely nice try, fella. Nice try. Now, where else are we? Ben says maybe the management don't rate the other keepers. Money is sparse. We need more outfield players. Walshy, why are you grimacing? It's here. It's right there. People can see it. People could be able to read it. I don't need to read it out. Where are we? Tony says it was Big Ludo's birthday the other day. He would still do a job. Now, guys, in the description, sad face. In the description, there is a link. Well, there should be a link to a new fan poll. Right, it's Footballers Fan of the Year. Sorry, Fan Footballer of the Year, I should say. The link's in the description. Ogbonna, Rice, Souček, and Antonio are in there. We can vote for our Premier League Football Fan of the Year. You can vote for your club. Who's your favourite player? You can vote for that, and you can also vote for the Premier League player as well. I think it's really, really good. I think it's nice to get a bit more fan engagement. I'm hoping it means year from January to December. Excuse me, rather than from September to May. I think it should be. If it's a year, it should be a year. It should be the 12 months, not the season. But I think it's a great thing. So as I say, there's a link in the description. Go and click on that. If there isn't, apologies, guys. I will stick that up once this conversation is over. But yeah, I do think it's I think it's great that we can get some fan engagement back in there and stuff, and we can say, not only do we vote for the Hammer of the Year and everything, but we can put it on the national platform as well, for that matter. I think it's brilliant. I really do think it's so from January till the end of December for this 12 months. Who's your West Ham Player of the Year? Tony says, can we vote for managers, because mine's going to Arteta, who's done a wonderful job at Arsenal. So yeah, give me who your Hammer of the Year is, not of the season, of the year. Marzi says, I like awards like this. That is why I hate the PFA when the votes are months before it ends. Agreed, completely agreed. Kent says, Souček. Jordan says Rice. Guys, are you saying the season or the actual from January to December? Just to make that clear, because I have a lot of issue, and I've said it many times, when people refer to the season as a year. It's not a year. It's not 12 months. A year is 12 months. It's 9 3/4. It's not a year. It winds me up when you hear it on Sky Sports all the time, and BBC are starting to do it, and BT are starting to do it, and even content creators on YouTube, not just West Ham ones, all of them are saying year instead of season. Jordan says, yeah, January to December. Yep, just checking, guys, just making sure you're using it in the right context. But yep, agreed. Ben says Ogbonna. Yep, can't argue for any of those three at the minute, guys. Really can't argue for any of those three in any shape or form. All have had very strong a very strong 12-month period. Really have. Kieran says Ogbonna has been one of the best centre backs in the league, and not just West Ham. Agreed, Kieran, 100%. Rick says January to December it will be Ogbonna. Yeah. Bowen's very up there for me. Bowen's very close. Andy says, Milesy says from January to December, mine is Oggy and Antonio close second. We would have went down without them in his opinion. Agreed. Tony says Rice. He's grown in stature and taken the captaincy from Noble. Agreed. Completely agreed. Excuse me. Eden says Oggy. Agree. Paul John says last season was a year. Welcome back, Paul. Good to see you again, mate. Hope you're keeping all right. But yeah, you're absolutely. And Milesy asks, who's your worst? That's a tough one, mate. That really is a tough one. Because I really can't think of anybody that, with the exception of Southampton at home last season, when Allaire really annoyed the piss out of me, I really can't think of anyone that I would say they've been our worst player, which is a compliment to all the players we've got, quite frankly. And WHU says Anderson has been poor, yeah, but he hasn't been with us since the start of the season, so it doesn't really count. I know we're only 11 games in, but it doesn't really count. Andy Miles says Jack Wilshere for him. He's not played. But in terms of consistent players, I'd say a good portion of it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, all right. I'll buckle into that one. I'll say Anderson. Yeah, he has annoyed me a lot for good reasons and for bad. Who else? Yeah, I think it's just Anderson. Thinking about everybody else, Jetty I felt sorry for because he didn't get the right time. Argument could be, yeah, I was about to say, Kent, you absolutely say, I was about to say there's an argument for Fredericks as well. Always injured, but when he does pretty poor. And when he does play, I think it's just pretty poor. And Milesy said, no, it's a hard one compared to last year, 2019. It is. Tony says Wilshere still rattling about leaving us sour grapes and all. This is why he's not getting another side. It's good because you don't slag off your last team when you're looking for another contract. You don't. This is why he's linked with the MLS again. Because nobody wants to touch him with a barge pole. We say we don't want that upstart here, this over the hill upstart playing for our team. We don't want that. We don't want that at all. That's why he's not getting anywhere, and it's a real shame as well because he's a very, very talented footballer. He really is a very talented footballer, but he's just got to wind. Sorry guys, apologies for that. He's just really got to wind his neck in. He really has to wind his neck in when it comes to these things. You know, it's just it really does my head in. Sorry, Milesy, mate. Yeah, as I say, I clicked a button I shouldn't have done. Just trying to get things up because we were coming up to the end of it soon. Ben says he was a complete flop. Wilshere agreed. Wilshere moaning because we didn't give him a gold-plated wheelchair or a Zimmer frame. Lee Vassello, hello, welcome. Thanks for laughing at my mistake, mate. Nothing goes very smoothly here, unfortunately. But anyway, Paul says Jack will go to Rangers. Probably will. Maybe they are that desperate for people at the minute. Now, also for that matter, we had where are we? Zande Silva apparently is doing very well over in Greece. He came on as was it a sub? Yes. Where are we? So the Portuguese forward came into the game having netted a brilliant first seniors league goal in midweek, weaving in between several defenders before cutting inside and firing a low shot in injury time in the 3-1 win over Larissa on Wednesday. Having been a second half substitute on that occasion, as well as when he attained his first senior assist last week at Olympiacos, Silva has once again began Saturday's game on the bench. So yeah, he was a half-time substitute for I can't pronounce that team's name, but they were basically from 2-0 down and they came back to draw. So that's very, very good. Very, very good from that side of things. But Lee, hope you're all right, mate. Haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're keeping well. But yeah, I always had to keep you guys on your toes. But yeah, it's I would like to have him back. I genuinely would like to have him back. Milesy says, yeah, I saw that JP looks a lot more athletic and sharper. Only can be good future for him at us in the coming seasons. I really hope so, mate. I really, really do hope so, because it would just be hard to for him not to have it. Aiden says we haven't seen much of Zanze due to injury, but hopefully when he's back, he can get a run around in a few games rather than a few Agnes. Well, you might know a few Agnes, mate. You never know. You never know with these kids. The last thing I want to talk about before we which we'll do in the last couple of minutes. So the floor is yours for the next few minutes, guys. Any questions you want to ask me or each other, for that matter? Because anything that you guys want to talk about. And he says, and Marsley says, and talking of good stuff, good to see Nathan Holland getting 45 minutes in the week. Yeah, he did. I think that's in there as well, that article I was reading. Where are we? Let me just double check it. No, it doesn't talk about it. But yeah, I remember reading that as well, for that matter. So if there's anything else that you guys want to talk about before we wrap this up, because we'll end with the Leeds game for a minute. I just want to get your thoughts on a couple of things. Ben says, why did you decide to make a YouTube channel? Well, originally, Ben, that's a very, very good question. I started this in August of 2017 because I was seeing less and less of my girlfriend at the time. I was watching the guys like Hammer's Chat, Ball Street, and West Ham Fan TV, and Hammer and Talk as well, for that matter. The three Hammers all doing their own content, and I thought that was brilliant. And I just kind of thought to myself, well, I want to do something. When I started the channel originally, it wasn't like this at all. It wasn't like this. All I was doing is I was using my phone. That's all I was doing when I first started the channel. Just to talk about things. This is where we need Darren over in Thailand. Because I was doing weekly thoughts. When I was talking about all the latest stories in the news, I was doing movie reviews. I was doing West Ham stuff. I was doing music reviews as well. And then a few months into when I moved out of my own place and went into the flat house share that I did, a friend of mine said, separate your content, have one channel for the YouTube, one channel for West Ham, and another channel for everything else, so I did. I set up JPTV, which is still around. I haven't done anything for 2 years because this channel's has been more important from that side of things. But yeah, so I basically thought, well, I've got loads of time on my hands, and that's why I wanted to do it. Paul John says, Hulk available for free transfer. No, thank you, not for West Ham. Maybe for your team, mate, but not for ours. Tony Blackwell says, what's everyone's views on West Ham buying the stadium? For $1.5 million? When we talked about it last week, Tone? It's going to happen. It's massively going to happen. Massively going to happen. It's really, really what their intention's been right from day one. Always has been, and it always will be. So yeah, it's always going to be the case. Always going to be the case. And Milesy said, JP, I watched some videos before I subscribed to you. I think it was 2018 that I started. Good stuff, mate. I do the same with others. It's mad how good content is in the West Ham fan. Yeah, because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, mate. That's why. But Miles, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you didn't hear. I didn't hear because you've only been around since the summer, I think. So, well, not even that. Just around about summer. So I'm glad you've been enjoying it for that length of time, fella. I really, really think it was. But yeah, it probably wasn't 2 years ago, but it would probably be close on to it. That's for sure. Ben says, good man, John. Cheers for answering the question. I answer every question anyone's put to me. Always do, as long as it's respectful. And it's not. And Andy Walshy, mate, you're absolutely right. Never a dull moment at West Ham. Completely agreed. It's been a dull recently because there's only, we've only got good things to talk about. I haven't got a lot to complain about. Tony says, the good thing, John, you have good people who will support you with this channel. I do. It'd be nice to get that count to, where is it? It'd be nice to get that count down there to 1,800, but anyway. Kieran says, thank God you're nothing like Arsenal Fan TV. I don't want to be like that. I didn't really want to take the mantle over from Hammer and Talk either, because his content's totally different to the way I do things. But since he did step down, unfortunately Jay had a lot of personal things going on, which means he had to stop doing it. then that was the thing. And Milesy asks who's finished Christmas shopping. I can't go anywhere. I can't see my family. They're all in tier 3, so I can't do any of mine, unfortunately. And he says, this summer was great with the daily shows. Mate, if I could do this full time, if I don't have to work, I'll be doing daily live chats. But yes, you're right, Walshy, mate. It was when you started coming on. It was good. It got some nice views, got some nice people on, and the majority of you guys that are watching now were those that were with me back in the summer. Right, so we've got a couple of minutes left. So Belisa came out with his starting 11 in today's press conference for the game on Friday. I can't remember what he was saying, but do you guys genuinely think this is mind games for Moyes? Because when this came out a couple of hours ago, I genuinely think he's toying with Moyes. He said that he gave the options. So I've got a funny feeling that Belisa is going to use a different squad, or at least a semi-different starting 11 to what he said in the press conference. I genuinely do. Give me your thoughts on this, guys. Paul says, I'm a gooner. Yeah, I remember you are, mate. And he refuses to watch Arsenal Fan TV. Yeah, a lot of people don't like it. I've got massive, massive respect for Robbie. I think he's a great bloke. He started everybody's careers off in one form or another. They've all got a couple of guys from Arsenal Fan TV who've got their own football club and stuff, and they've made a fair packet out of it, and fair play to them. And Arsenal Fan TV gave the inspiration for a lot of us. I'm sure Nicky will say that, because I know he said it many times as well. Robbie gave him some pointers on how to improve West Ham Fan TV. I know Nicky was talking to a few other people, a few other different content, like Graham, for example, from from Knees Up Mother Brown. He asked him for some ideas on how he wanted to start up a West Ham channel. Loads of different things. And he says something completely not related to the question whatsoever. So I think the quicker we get back to playing, I think the players are angry of the result last week, and I think we are going to see a couple of changes given to give the team a kick up the arse. Agreed. But do you think that Belisa was playing mind games with Moyes by giving his team sheet out 2 days early? That was the question. Tony says, well, I watched Arsenal Fan TV once, had no idea that what they were saying, just sounded gibberish. It's North London speak, mate, unfortunately. North London speak. So yeah, quickly, guys, before we round this up, give me your thoughts. Was it mind games from Belisa? And he says, oh yeah, 100%. I think they've got some injuries. Still not answering the question, but okay. Tony says, my brother-in-law helps Claude out with his channel, so I know the work you put into your channel. Thank you, Tony. Yeah. As well as you know yourself, mate, that when we had to try and get that live stream all sorted out, that didn't go down to plan, did it? But yeah, anybody else on Belisa's thoughts? Anyone? No? Here we go. Eden says, I think Belisa could go either way. I'm sure he does, mate. Really just trying to keep Moyes guessing. Yeah, that's exactly what my thoughts are. It's mind games with him. Absolutely mind games. And Rick agrees. Tony says it was comedy gold at the start. It was, mate. Yeah, trying to get you for 1 point for you to use the right browser. Walshy says probably JP, but we'll probably change it. Yeah, he probably will. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna say, right, I'm putting this out, and then we'll see about 4 or 5 changes to what he was talking about. But I'm sure Moyes is strong in thought and mind for that. Kieran says, do you know what you get with Leeds? So does it matter? Well, we don't really, because we haven't seen them consistently for 15 years, with the exception of that season when we were down in the Championship. That's it. Tony says, Belisa, you have to think his interpreter has no idea what he's saying and tells us what he thinks. Yeah, he does look a bit clueless sometimes. But guys, we're going to have to wrap it up there, because the preview is now live on the channels for the Leeds game. So go watch that. So in the meantime, guys, look after yourselves. Take care. Thank you very much for once again a fantastic weekly live chat. And I will hopefully see you guys at 5 minutes to 8 on Wednesday. That's right, on Friday night, I should say, for the watch along. So Lee reckons it's going to be 3-1. But thank you much, guys. All the best, and I'll see you Friday.